We played a game. Have you ever heard of Undercover or Mr. White?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's an app game. We're not sponsored,
Uh-huh.
by the way, but I wouldn't. I mean, if you want to sponsor,
if
I mean,
you want.
sure. I mean, it's like no. Okay. Anyways, yeah, we played this game using a mobile app. So I use my phone, download the app, and it's basically a game where there are three sides to the game.
Okay.
There are the civilians, which if you ever play werewolf, they're just like the
Uh-huh.
sort of the useless guys, but not really. The second type is the undercover, and the third type is the Mr. White.
Okay.
So, in a game, I believe we played, there were 10 people at the time. So, one person was Mr. White, two person was undercover, and the rest was civilians.
Okay.
Now, when we pass the phone along to get our roles, we are also given a word, you see. For civilians, for example, the word was guitar, okay?
Ah.
And then for undercover,
Okay.
they get the word of banjo. So they're both very similar items, right? Or stuff.
Yeah.
But for Mr. White, you don't get any word. You're just being told you are the Mr. White. Okay?
Oh.
Get what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
in each round, every single person has to describe what their word is with one word that is not that word itself. If that makes sense.
Ah.
So, for example, if I was the guy who got guitar, I would say wood, because guitar is made of wood most of the time.
Yeah, most of them
And then
are.
the next person beside me, for example, the word for him was the banjo. He would say strings. That's very general, right? Both guitar.
Yeah. That applies to both guitar and banjo,
Now here's the thing, though. Since Mr.
Yeah.
White does not get a word, when it's his turn to describe the items, he can't be found out that he's the Mr. White, right? Because at the
Yeah.
end of each round, we would vote one person out, and if the amounts of civilian is equals or under the amounts of undercover, we would lose. If
Okay.
the Mr. White can guess the word, he would win.
Ah.
See what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I
And
see.
the undercover and civilians, we don't know which side we're on. We are not told if you're undercover or civilian. You just get a word.
Oh.
So things would get really interesting, really, really fast.
Nice.
The one that I remember was I got lightning,
Ah.
and I was undercover. I didn't know that lightning was undercover word.
Mhm.
The civilian word was thunder.
Ah.
Yeah, you see? Thunder's the sound, lightning's the thing, the one that you see.
Actual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I forgot who got Mr. White, but yeah. So it was my turn. I said, rain. And then the next person says a cloud, and the next person says,
Yeah.
And then after one round, we start sussing out who are the undercover. I didn't know I was an undercover, so I thought I was a civilian. It's like, okay, that guy,
Yeah.
he mentions, since my word was lightning, he mentions loud, right? And I was like, that doesn't sound right. Lightning doesn't have a sound, So
Technically, thunder has the sound.
yeah. That's why. We
Yeah.
voted him out, and it turns out he was a civilian. So like, oh, okay, well, that makes me in a bad position now. And
Here
well,
I go.
yeah, and the games goes on, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, if you have friends to play with, it's a lot of fun to play, from my experience at least. And then we I got the chance to be a Mr. White, right?
Oh yeah.
The word was, if I can remember here, it was swamp and forest. So very similar as well. But I could not guess what the word was.
Very similar. One's just soggy.
Yeah. When it was my turn, I just said something super general, but also something to confuse. I was pretending I was not the Mr. White, right? Because when you're
You're like,
describing
it's a
words,
noun.
yeah. When you're describing words, you can
Yeah.
say something super weird just to throw off the Mr. White. And I was pretending that I was not Mr. White, trying to throw off Mr. White. So I just said clown, and everyone looked at me like, "What? I'm just trying to distract the Mr. White, And I got voted out instantly. Come on, man. Come on. That was a good strategy. Come on.
Well, yeah, I can see why they booted you out. Just saying.
Oh dear. And
That's like the most sus thing ever.
oh
like,
yeah.
oh, trees.
I mean,
Grass.
Clown.
Everyone looks at you. They're like,
Come on.
and you're like,
Come on.
it's a clown forest.
Come on. It works. It should have worked. I thought I was big brain.
If you really think about it.
Clowns might be in the forest. Maybe it's their lit.
I mean, technically, clowns wear rubber noses, and rubber, at least the original non-synthetic rubber, comes from trees, and trees make up forests. So if you really think
about it, I'm the smart one there, but no one was on my level.
See?
Yeah, we'll keep it at that.
yeah, okay.